You wake up in the middle of the night with pain so severe you can barely breathe. It radiates from your back to your groin, comes in waves, and nothing seems to help. You rush to the emergency room, and after hours of tests, you hear the diagnosis: kidney stones. The doctor tells you it's one of the most painful conditions a person can experience. Some patients compare it to childbirth. But here's what many people don't realize. Kidney stones are largely preventable, and most of the strategies that actually work are surprisingly simple.
My name is David. I'm a general practitioner working at Mayo Clinic in the United States, and I spend a significant portion of my time helping patients understand how their daily habits shape their long-term health, especially when it comes to conditions that seem to strike out of nowhere but are actually years in the making. Kidney stones fall squarely into this category. Over the years, I've seen too many people suffer through the excruciating pain of passing a stone, only to form another one within a few years because they didn't understand what caused it in the first place. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 evidence-based strategies to prevent kidney stones. These aren't vague suggestions. They're specific, actionable steps grounded in how kidney stones actually form in your body. By the end, you'll understand not just what to do, but why it matters, and how small changes today can save you from serious pain tomorrow.
Before we dive into prevention, let's talk about what's actually happening inside your body when a kidney stone develops. Every day, your kidneys filter waste products from your blood and produce urine. Under normal circumstances, these waste products, including minerals like calcium, oxalate, and uric acid, stay dissolved in your urine and get flushed out of your body without issue. But sometimes, the concentration of these minerals becomes too high, or the protective factors in your urine become too low. When that happens, microscopic crystals begin to form. These tiny crystals can stick together, growing larger over time until they become stones, some as small as a grain of sand, others as large as a golf ball. About 80% of kidney stones in the United States are made of calcium oxalate, which forms when calcium combines with oxalate in the urine. The remaining 20% include uric acid stones, struvite stones, and cystine stones, though these are less common.
These stones can form in the kidney itself, but they can also travel down into the ureter, the tube connecting the kidney to the bladder, where they can get stuck and cause that infamous, agonizing pain. Some people describe it as a burning sensation during urination. Others feel sharp, stabbing pain in their side or lower back. The key point here is this: kidney stone formation is a process, not a single event, and that means we have multiple opportunities to interrupt it.
This is the single most important thing you can do to prevent kidney stones, and yet it's the one most people get wrong. When I say drink enough water, I'm not talking about coffee, soda, or even juice. I'm talking about plain, filtered water.
Here's why this matters so much. When you're well hydrated, your urine is dilute, meaning the concentration of stone-forming minerals stays low. Think of it like dissolving salt in water. If you add a teaspoon of salt to a gallon of water, it dissolves easily. But if you add that same teaspoon to a shot glass of water, it can't all dissolve, and crystals form. Your urine works the same way.
Studies have shown that people who produce less than about 1.5 liters, roughly 50 ounces, of urine per day have a significantly higher risk of developing kidney stones. To produce that much urine, most people need to drink somewhere between 8 to 12 cups of water daily, though this varies based on climate, activity level, and individual metabolism.
Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but Dr. David, doesn't beer make you urinate more? Wouldn't that help flush out the kidneys? Technically, yes. Alcohol is a diuretic, meaning it increases urine production. But here's the problem. Alcohol also dehydrates you overall and can stress your liver and other organs. The risks far outweigh any minor benefit. We don't use beer as a medical treatment for kidney stones, and I strongly advise against it.
The same logic applies to soda and sweetened beverages. In fact, sodas, especially colas, can actually increase your risk of kidney stones. They contain phosphoric acid, which alters the chemistry of your urine in ways that promote stone formation. Diet sodas aren't much better. If you want to prevent kidney stones, water is your best friend. You can add variety with herbal teas or infused water with lemon or cucumber, but the foundation should always be plain water.
This is one of those strategies that sounds almost too simple to be true, but the science is rock solid. Citric acid, the natural acid found in citrus fruits like lemons, limes, oranges, and grapefruits, has a protective effect against kidney stone formation.
Here's how it works. Citric acid binds to calcium in your urine. Once it's bound, that calcium can't combine with oxalate to form crystals. Essentially, citric acid acts like a shield, preventing the building blocks of kidney stones from coming together in the first place. Studies have shown that people with higher levels of citric acid in their urine have a significantly lower risk of developing calcium oxalate stones.
This is why you may have heard people recommend drinking lemon water for kidney health. It's not just folklore, it's biochemistry. When you drink fresh lemon juice or eat citrus fruits, you're increasing the citric acid content of your urine, which in turn reduces crystal formation.
I often tell patients who've already had a kidney stone to start their day with a glass of water with freshly squeezed lemon juice. It doesn't have to be complicated. Half a lemon in 8 ounces of water is plenty. Over time, this simple habit can make a measurable difference. Oranges, grapefruits, and other citrus fruits work too, so if you're not a fan of lemon water, you have options.
One important note, citric acid is not the same as vitamin C, ascorbic acid, which we'll discuss next. Citric acid is beneficial. Excessive vitamin C is not.
Vitamin C is one of those nutrients that Americans tend to love in high doses. Walk into any pharmacy and you'll see shelves stocked with 1,000 milligram tablets, effervescent powders, and immune-boosting supplements that promise to keep you healthy year-round. But when it comes to kidney stones, high-dose vitamin C can actually backfire. When you take large amounts of vitamin C, typically more than 1,000 milligrams per day, your body metabolizes some of it into oxalate. And, as we've already discussed, oxalate combines with calcium to form the most common type of kidney stone. So while you might think you're doing something good for your immune system, you could inadvertently be setting the stage for a painful kidney stone down the road.
The research on this is clear. Studies have shown that people who regularly take high-dose vitamin C supplements have a higher risk of kidney stone formation compared to those who don't. This doesn't mean vitamin C is bad. It's an essential nutrient. But like many things in medicine, the dose makes the poison.
My recommendation: if you're going to take a vitamin C supplement, keep the dose around 500 milligrams per day, or less. If you do take 1,000 milligrams, don't take it continuously for months on end. Give your body a break every few months. Better yet, try to get your vitamin C from food sources like oranges, strawberries, bell peppers, and broccoli. These foods provide vitamin C in a form that's less likely to contribute to oxalate buildup.
I see this issue frequently with patients who think more is always better. They take a 1,000 milligram tablet in the morning and another in the evening, thinking they're protecting themselves from colds or infections. But in reality, they're just increasing their kidney stone risk without any meaningful health benefit.
Most Americans eat far too much sodium. The average intake is around 3,400 milligrams per day, well above the recommended limit of 2,300 milligrams, about 1 teaspoon of salt. We all know that excess sodium raises blood pressure and increases the risk of heart disease and stroke. But what many people don't realize is that high sodium intake also increases the risk of kidney stones.
Here's the mechanism. When you consume a lot of sodium, your kidneys have to work harder to filter it out. In the process, they also excrete more calcium into your urine. And as we've established, higher calcium levels in the urine mean a higher chance of calcium oxalate crystals forming.
This is one of those situations where a single dietary change can have multiple health benefits. By cutting back on sodium, you're not only protecting your cardiovascular system, you're also reducing your kidney stone risk. It's a 2-for-1 deal. So where is all this sodium coming from? For most Americans, it's not the salt shaker on the dinner table. It's processed and restaurant foods.
canned soups, deli meats, frozen dinners, fast food burgers, pizza, bread, and even seemingly innocent foods like breakfast cereals can be loaded with sodium. Reading nutrition labels and choosing fresh, whole foods over processed options is one of the most effective ways to bring your sodium intake down.
I often tell my patients to aim for less than 2,000 milligrams of sodium per day if they've had a kidney stone or are at high risk. It takes some effort and label reading at first, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes second nature. Americans love their burgers, steaks, and barbecue. But if you're prone to kidney stones or want to avoid them altogether, cutting back on red meat and organ meats should be part of your prevention strategy.
Red meat and organ meats, like liver, kidneys, and heart, are high in purines, which are natural compounds found in animal tissues. When your body breaks down purines, it produces uric acid. High levels of uric acid in the urine can lead to uric acid stones, which account for about 5 to 10% of all kidney stones in the US.
But that's not the only problem. Even if you're not forming uric acid stones, high uric acid levels can still create an acidic environment in your urine, which makes it easier for calcium oxalate stones to form. So red meat contributes to kidney stone risk in more than one way.
Beyond kidney stones, there's also strong evidence linking high red meat consumption to increased risks of colon cancer, heart disease, and diabetes. So when I advise patients to cut back on red meat, I'm not just thinking about their kidneys. I'm thinking about their overall long-term health.
This doesn't mean you have to go vegetarian, but it does mean being mindful about portion sizes and frequency. Instead of having a steak or burger every night, try swapping in more plant-based proteins like beans, lentils, tofu, or fish. Chicken and turkey are also better options than red meat when it comes to kidney stone prevention.
Organ meats, in particular, should be limited or avoided if you're at risk for stones. They're extremely high in purines, and while they're nutrient-dense in some respects, the kidney stone risk usually outweighs the benefits for most people. Let me recap the 5 most effective strategies to prevent kidney stones. First, drink plenty of plain water. Not soda, not sweetened drinks, not beer. Aim for enough water to produce at least 50 ounces of urine per day, which usually means drinking 8 to 12 cups of water daily. Second, increase your citric acid intake by consuming more citrus fruits like lemons, oranges, and grapefruits. A glass of lemon water each morning is a simple, effective habit. Third, avoid high-dose vitamin C supplements. Stick to 500 milligrams per day or less, and take breaks if you're using higher doses. Get your vitamin C from food whenever possible. Fourth, reduce your sodium intake. Cut back on processed foods, read nutrition labels, and aim for less than 2,000 to 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day. Fifth, limit red meat and organ meats. These foods increase uric acid levels and create an environment in your urine that favors stone formation.
These strategies aren't just theoretical. They're based on decades of research and clinical experience. I've seen patients completely turn their health around by making these changes. One of my patients had passed 3 kidney stones in 5 years. After we worked together to increase his water intake, add lemon water to his routine, and cut back on sodium and red meat, he's been stone-free for over 4 years now. That's the power of prevention.
The most important thing to understand is this. Kidney stones are not just bad luck. They're the result of biochemical processes that we can influence through our daily choices. You don't have to wait until you're doubled over in pain in the emergency room to take action. You can start today, right now, by drinking a glass of water, squeezing some lemon into it, and making a mental note to check the sodium content on your next packaged food purchase.
Prevention is always easier, cheaper, and less painful than treatment. And when it comes to kidney stones, the pain of passing one is motivation enough to take these steps seriously. If you've never had a kidney stone, consider yourself lucky and take these precautions to keep it that way. If you've already experienced one, you know exactly why these strategies matter.
As always, if you have a history of kidney stones or other kidney-related health issues, talk to your primary care physician or a urologist. They can run tests to identify the specific type of stone you're prone to and tailor recommendations to your individual situation. But for most people, these 5 strategies form a solid foundation for long-term kidney health. Stay hydrated, eat smart, and take care of your kidneys.
Use hormones, including testosterone.